The next thing we're going to talk about is how to find the trig functions. You guys have done this before. You need the chart for it, so I'm going to put the chart up here. And then this is 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees, and this is theta, which I'll also put in radians right next to it so you guys have it. Pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, pi over 2. And then sine of theta comes first, then cosine of theta. Remember, it's square root of 0 over 2, which is 0. Square root of 1 over 2, which is 1/2. Square root of 2 over 2. Square root of 3 over 2. Oh, I'm missing one. 34.
Oh, 0.
Yep, you're right. I'm missing 0, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to move all these guys down. Sorry about that. So this should be 0, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees. And this is 0, pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, pi over 2. So again, square root of 0 over 2 is 0, square root of 1 over 2 is 1/2, square root of 2 over 2, square root of 3 over 2, square root of 4 over 2, which would be 2 over 2, which is 1. And then they just go, you reverse direction.
What's the one over next to Pokeball?
This? It's the same. They're both, this is theta, this one's just in radians, and this one's in degrees. Okay, so when we find trig functions, there are 3 steps. One is to find the reference angle. 2 is to find the trig function on the chart. And 3 is to adjust the sign according to the quadrant. So, we're going to do a couple of these. So, let's look at,
What is number 1 say?
find the reference angle. Here, let me, there you go. So, I'm going to do one of these in radians and the other one in degrees. So, let's say we have sine of 5 pi over 6. So, to find the reference angle for radians, it was easy. It was just what?
Pi over 6.
Right, pi over the denominator. So, we're looking for sine of pi over 6. So, pi over 6 is right here, and sine of pi over 6, we follow the chart, is just 1/2. So, we say 1/2. Okay, and then, but we have to adjust the sign according to the quadrant we're in. So, 5 pi over 6 is in which quadrant? 5 pi over 6 is in which quadrant? The second quadrant. Good. It's in the second quadrant. I'll remind you guys how to find that. Because remember I said this is like 0 to 1/2 pi to 1 pi to 3/2 pi to 2 pi. So 5 over 6 is almost 1, and it's over 1/2, so that would be in quadrant 2. And in quadrant 2, all students take calculus. Is sign positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive, so you leave it positive. Good.
Is that the answer? How did you find out it was 1/2?
Because you said pi over 6 was the reference angle, so we looked at pi over 6, and sine is 1/2.
Oh my god.
So we wrote it in.
Doesn't matter if there's a 5 next to the 5.
The 5 pi over, the 5, what it does is it gives you the quadrant you're in, and that you adjust at the bottom.
Alright, I'll be sure to remember that. That's not my sarcasm. No.
Okay.
No, that was still sarcasm.
So the next one I want to do is cotangent. So let's do cotangent of 210. So we are going to find the reference angle and find the quadrant we're in at the same time. So 210 is going to be in which quadrant? Third, right? Because it's over 180, but before 270. So 1, 2, 3. And then if I go back here to my reference angle to remember,
All students take calculus.
well, you're right. It's going to be T, but we're going to look at the reference angle first. So we have to do the angle minus 180 to find the reference angle.
Why?
Because then we only have to use a small chart. So we say 210 minus 180, and what does that give us? 30. So now we're looking for cotangent of 30 degrees. So,
It's on the chart.
right, but we know from our identities that cotangent is what over what?
1 over, what? COS.
Well, cotangent's 1 over tangent. Cotangent is what? Cosine over sine. Right? Remember, tangent is sine over cosine. We had talked about that before. Tangent sine over cosine, so that means cotangent is cosine over sine. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at 30, and we're going to take the cosine and put it over the sine. So we say square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2. So square root of 3 over 2 times 2 over 1. The 2's cancel, so square root of 3. And then like Callan says, we're in quadrant 3.
Yeah.
In quadrant 3, what's positive?
Tangent.
Tangent, and what's the buddy?
The opposite of tangent.
The buddy is cotangent. So I'm just going to write again, this was cosine over sine. So we took cosine and put it over sine. Then we multiplied by the reciprocal, so we got square root of 3. Tangent and cotangent are buddies. Since it's in quadrant 3, it's positive, so we leave it as positive.